There are a few things that I grew up with that are near and dear to my heart. One of them is wrestling, more accurately, professional wrestling. You know, the one that everyone says is fake. My first memories of watching such a show on TV involved the Erich family. I was a kid back then and moved on to watch The Big Brother, WWF, or WWE, take your pick. So when I heard they're gonna make a movie about this famous and tragic family, I was excited to see what story will play out on the big screen. Now that the movie has recently came out on streaming, I think it's time to review it. I'm Meffistoe, like, share, and subscribe because this is my review of the movie, The Iron Claw.
Show the world who you are and what you can do, you will become the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship and get your title shot.
The Iron Claw tells the tale of the Von Erich family, their rise to prominence in the late 70s and early 80s, and their eventual downfall. The movie concentrates on Kevin Von Erich, and we see the story of the brothers through his eyes mainly. The story starts with Fritz Von Erich losing the NWA title to another wrestler and deciding to open up his own promotion.
How much does it cost?
It's gonna be fine, Dottie. I'm almost there.
Cut to a few years later as Kevin and a few of his brothers are wrestling under Fritz's promotion WCCW. The family of wrestlers put on great shows and host quite a few well-known wrestlers at the time, such as Bruiser Brody and Harley Race, who even gives Kevin a shot at the big title of the NWA, which was considered the Legacy World Championship belt. As mentioned before, it is all predetermined, but the man who holds the belt is enjoying the prestige and notoriety of being a champ and also getting the respect of his peers by being a good guy to work with.
You move up in any industry based on your performances, right? Mm-hmm. So a belt, like my Texas title, is really just a job promotion.
The more respectable brother at the time, Kerry, comes back home from college because he was hoping for a shot at the 1980s Olympics, but of course the US boycotted the Moscow and Kerry has to move back home to wrestle for the business.
So, Kerry, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
Yes, sir. I love that.
Glad to hear it, son.
At some point, Fritz decided to get David into the business, and because he has done such a great job, Fritz prefers him over Kevin to be sent to the NWA and to compete for the belt. But before that, David needs to prove himself in the Japan circuit. Alas, David dies while on tour and the family is devastated.
He died in his hotel room in Japan. A ruptured intestine.
Kevin is now tasked with training the younger brother, Mike. Mike is a kind soul and has no inspirations of ever doing any wrestling, but under Fritz's rules, he must. Sadly, the curse lands on his doorstep as Mike goes for shoulder surgery, which ends up sending him into a toxic shock and into a coma, and he was never the same after that. Fueled by the pressure from his father, he later on ends his own life.
We're all just so excited that Mike pulled through. Shows how much of a fighter he is.
Things seemingly calm down until Kerry has a motorcycle accident that causes his foot to be amputated. Nevertheless, he does train with a replacement foot, and he even gets a contract with the rival promotion, the WWF, and wins a belt over there. Because of all that, the relationship between Kerry and Fritz is fragile, which causes another life to be taken by the curse.
Oh, I don't want to shoot it now.
Well, you always shoot a gun when you get it.
I don't want to shoot it, Kerry.
Why the f not?
Kerry, what is wrong with you?
Well, me, what's wrong with him?
This is a heartbreaking story of a family in a very unusual kind of business. And the movie is trying to do a good job of telling that story. Zac Efron does a great job with the tragic character of Kevin, the brother that was left behind after all his other brothers died. This was the first role that Efron is in that I actually liked him. He performed the internal turmoil that Kevin must have been at beautifully. He made you feel sorry for him, and you could feel his pain.
I've been through the books. It doesn't add up. I didn't make nearly what it says I did.
Another great performance was Holt McCallany as Fritz. He was domineering, bossy, ruthless, and downright evil at some point, portraying the father who pushed his son to fulfill a dream that he couldn't achieve himself. He pushed and pushed until almost all of his sons were in a box and 6 feet under. An absolute great performance by Holt.
I've dreamed of having that belt in this house my whole career. But the NWA never gave me the chance I deserved.
The movie itself is not really perfect. As for the adaptation for the full story, it left out a lot of details that made the Von Erich brothers looking a bit better than reality. It didn't skip Carrie's obsessive steroid taking, but it forgot to mention all the other brothers were using as well, to various degrees. It was a common practice back in the day, but it wasn't heavily used as a plot device. The main focus was the relationship between the boys and their father, with Kevin trying to protect his brothers in any shape he can.
You're pushing too hard. You need to rest.
I'm almost there.
You think it's gonna slow down when you become world champion?
Another thing I didn't like about this movie is the guy portraying Ric Flair, Aaron Dean Eisenberg. He really botched one of the most iconic wrestling characters of all time. You can find a random wrestling fan that could do a much better job than this guy did. He completely broke my immersion for a few minutes while he was trying very poorly to imitate Flair. Such a letdown.
You see, the difference between me and a lot of these so-called big-time stuff.
Same goes for Jeremy Allen White. He looked the part, but his dialogue was few and far between. It didn't seem like the script was tailored to tell Carrie's full story to begin with, so White got the short end of the stick here.
Oh, I'm scared, man. Oh, I'm scared. I'm out of control.
On the whole, I think this movie was made for the fans of the era and fans of wrestling. Yes, the tragic story of the Von Erichs is worth the feature-length film, but I think it will miss the mark when it comes to the broad audience. The movie was trying real hard to make the brothers seem like goody two-shoes, which wasn't really the case. In real life, it was the constant drug use that caused most of the brothers' issues, but most of the blame in the movie was laid on the father's doorstep. I truly believe that it was both that caused so much trouble to the family. I will recommend this film, but to wrestling fans, because it's a part of the history of the sport. But I found it really hard to justify recommending it to anyone else. Maybe now that it's finally hit streaming services, that it will find its audience. So if you can stream this movie and want to watch a solid but flawed biopic, you can watch this one.
You've made your brother better, and your collective effort has pushed him to the top. Keep it up out there.
I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this review, smash the like button to help me out and beat that algorithm. Check out other reviews that I've done in the past, or check out our live Saturday show where we cover all sorts of amazing films. And remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.